Okay, so before we start, prudent disclosure. This is only for educational and entertainment purposes. There is absolutely no advice here. Nothing that we say, forward-looking or historical or current, has to be taken as advice at all. For advice, we have different products that are paid, and you can go and buy those, and that's the only place where you get advice. So whatever is available for free is by default not advice. Cool. So Adani, I don't want to discuss Adani from the report point of view. I think there's so much being spoken about it already. Everybody is like posting the report, plus posting their summary of the report, then posting the summary of someone's summary. It's
That's true.
nasty little. LinkedIn, have you heard of that one? I just remember this one joke someone had cracked on saying that you don't need to watch Shark Tank every day. Don't waste 1 hour. Just go on to LinkedIn the next day and view your feed for 5 minutes. You'll get to know everything that happened on Shark Tank.
100%.
So I think that's become the Adani situation also when it comes to this. But I think the focus has to be on saying whatever drama is happening is okay. Like it's great for entertainment and all of that. But how do we make money out of the situation? How do we make money? And the one name that stands out is
Ambuja Cements.
Acha, so surprise. I'll be throwing random questions at you guys during this entire session, and every right or fastest, gets 1 point. And
So the fastest answer doesn't have to be the right answer.
Right and or fastest. No, I'll decide.
Let's go.
So first question, because we said Ambuja, the first person to correctly hum the Ambuja anthem
There is an anthem.
from the ad.
दीवार टूटती क्यों नहीं है?
No. That is not the anthem. Without compressive strength के पहले जो music आता है, that.
I can't remember that.
You all have to make me sing now.
Yeah.
ऐड ही नहीं आता ना मुझे इसका.
Or probably you all were too young when that happened. You can't even Google this because
You have to play the video to listen to it.
you have to play
Like,
it.
ऐसा.
So you caught Googling. But clearly you don't know. I think you all were too young at that
I was
time.
the
to-
fastest.
No, nobody else here.
No. But now the point is Sagar will hum the tune. So yeah.
It's da 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 da.
Oh, that was the Ambuja anthem. Oh, right.
Yeah,
1 point for Sagar then.
1 point for me. I should actually get 2 points because if nobody answers, then I answer the question. So I have a natural disadvantage on this. So I should be getting 2 points on this.
How, you
But
are
then you already know the questions and the answers, so how you got an answer?
you should get half a point in fact.
Yeah.
You have advantage.
Shall fine, we'll settle at 1.
Let's go.
So anyway, so 1 point on Sagar and yeah, so Ambuja, I think this is one place where money can be made. So drama and entertainment and reading posts and analyzing aside, we can make some real money out of Ambuja. But why is Ambuja different from all the Adani stocks? Right, it has been getting beaten down as much, right? How much has Ambuja fallen and the others?
It's 25% like till date. So yeah, it fell 30%, but today it like rose 5%. Yes, it's already recovering.
Right. So, and all the Adani stocks are between 25 and 50. No?
50
Yeah.
almost 50,
As of
50.
yesterday, yes.
Awesome. So, basically, it's fallen as much, but does it deserve to be thrashed? Is the question, right?
Yeah, so like you could say Ambuja is the poster child of collateral damage, we can call it, because it's been grouped together with Adani companies, and I don't think it deserves the thrashing at all. It couldn't be more different from the Adani bunch if we like look at it that way. So there is a
It's just a recent acquisition. So,
yeah, it was I think 16 September 2022. So it's like 6-7 months back. So yeah, it's very recent. And it was a clean acquisition. There was Like nothing shady about it, at least
To our knowledge.
to our knowledge. Yeah.
So I think to our knowledge, meaning otherwise the entire video is crappy.
A farce, yeah.
Um, but maybe other bidders were also there, which confused the
Yeah.
literacy. Well, just Adani
That's
won the
true.
bid, so
Yeah, true. Like I think Ultratech and JSW were the other main bidders. Ultratech was like throughout supposed to be the winner of the bid, but Adani swooped in.
Ultratech, by the way, has been the highest, sort of the most. It's acquired the most number of companies in India in cement.
I mean, it has a market share of around what, 21% or more in the cement.
So yeah, they would.
Yeah, 20
And
plus.
right below is Ambuja, which is at 6. So that's quite a gap between the two.
So Ultratech followed by Shree, followed by Dalmia, then
Yes, Shree is at
ACC.
7, Ambuja at 6.
It's all like Ultratech is way above all the others. It's 20 and then 6,
Quite a
7,
gap.
6, 7.
anyway, so it was like there was interest from other buyers, yes, but it was also because it was a legitimately good asset, right? It was a strong company with real assets, real production, real money coming in, no sort of jhol that we know of. Also owned by a very good company, right?
Yeah, so like you mentioned it, I think Adani and Ambuja are very different if you approach it from a corporate governance perspective also. Like it has been, managed by Wholesome, which is like a very reputed international MNC. So yeah, when comparing those two companies, if taking their history into account, they're quite different.
But even the financial position, right? I think so. Adani acquired the company at what, 385, 380?
Yeah, 385.
385 a share.
Yep.
And it's trading at
370 now.
370. So below what Adani was willing to pay for Ambuja.
Exactly. And like I think the at least industry conditions and overall it's way better than when Adani acquired it. Like
Yeah,
overall,
definitely. Especially after the budget, that seems to be
Yeah.
better. But yeah, Adani, I mean, Ambuja has been a strong company. But, so all the allegations in the report are primarily around either corporate governance or accounting fraud or shell companies or stock manipulation. None of these apply for Ambuja, right?
no, this it's not even mentioned once, like throughout the 93-page report. Like I guess they didn't have it's a recent acquisition and everything, but there is mostly nothing wrong with it. So
So it's not got debt and
no, so like the common theme around the accusations, if not by Hindenburg, is around the debt and the over pledging of the shares, and so all those points do not apply to Ambuja Cement. So if we talk about the free float, they talk a lot about market manipulation in the report, and like so one of the signs that there can be market manipulation is there is not a lot of free float, and Ambuja has like 36% of its shares publicly listed. So yeah, there is not a lot of scope for background manipulation there. All right, we were talking about the reasons. Then there's the current ratio. The report mentions that 5 of the top 7 Adani companies are like below 1 current ratio, which is way worse than it should be.
this is where Ayush steps in to explain current ratio.
Let's go.
So current ratio is basically the firm's ability to repay its short-term obligations. So higher the number, better it is for the company. And in this case, clearly Ambuja is on the winning side of the situation.
True that, absolutely. Then I mentioned pledging. So Adani companies have a habit of pledging their shares, and that makes it a very risky proposition. If the share falls, they have to pledge more shares, and if the news of someone like a bank or something selling the pledge shares comes out, like it's a free fall from there. So Ambuja is not exposed to such risk because its shares are not pledged anywhere basically. And the last one is the debt to equity ratio. So all the fuss about
Wait,
the
wait. Ayush has to come in again. What is a debt to equity ratio?
It's just the proportion of, it's just in essential, it's the proportion of debt that a company holds as opposed to its shareholder equity. So I think the number has to be much lower than it should be for it to be a good indicator of the company. And in which case, I think Ambuja's number is what, at 0.1?
0.01. Yeah.
0.01, while Adani's are at.
So average is around 2.2. The highest is I think Adani Green Energy, which is
Which is at
7.7.
7.7. Correct.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But
Yeah. But this thing, right? So back to saying that Adani had acquired at 385 a share.
yeah,
So clearly, and it trading at a valuation, sorry, a price below that, the valuation seems very reasonable compared to all the Adani stocks, right? I think the free fall in Adani stocks has also been because, yes, there are
they were
valuations, but when valuations are frothy or high, there is a large potential for any stock to fall massively.
true. Yeah,
Earnings are real, earnings are there, but the multiple that you give an earnings is the amount which is sort of which is basis accumulative of sentiment, accumulative of how much investors are collectively willing to pay, and if that itself comes under threat, the higher the valuation, the larger the fall can be, right?
true.
Ambuja seems to be quite reasonable, no?
Exactly. Yeah, I think as you talked about the Adani companies, I'll mention the report again, but they mentioned that without accusing them of all the reasons that they have, like purely basis on earnings and everything, the companies are like minimum 85% overvalued of like the top seven Adani companies. So the fall, yeah, it's triggered by Hindenburg, but I think it's kind of deserved for how overvalued the stocks are.
Yeah. But still, I mean, that's where it comes from, right? The opportunity, the fact that it's got a different legacy, it's
Yeah,
got a different financial standing, and it is at valuations that are not frothy, but still the fall is comparable or proportionate to the other Adani companies, right? So I think
exactly. Yeah.
that poses an opportunity to probably make some money out of going long on Adani. Sorry, Ambuja. Yeah. But I think, see, beyond all the Adani fiasco as well, there's enough happening in the Indian cement industry for anybody to be positive on Ambuja, right? Like irrespective. Now that we established that Ambuja is not one of those Adani companies that it's not like the others, right? It is under the same banner. It's not. But yeah, there's enough tailwinds. Even the budget, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
the budget. You want to like talk about the cement demand from the budget standpoint? That itself can be like a massive tailwind for not only Ambuja but all the cement players collectively.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think from the budget standpoint, I think Sitaraman really goaded well with the public with the income tax bit, but more relevant to our topic, just the infrastructure capex layout being growing by 33.4% year on year, and this being one of the largest hikes in terms of a capex layout towards being funneled towards the housing sector, towards infrastructure, towards
You know,
rail.
sorry to cut you, but you know, one of my biggest worries from the budget was
What
the
was
day
it?
it was. So my interview on Money Control got published in the morning at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Oh.
The budget starts at 11, and the headline of that interview was that
9 lakh crore.
this guy expects 9 lakh crore of
Yeah.
right, and I've taken a very pro growth, pro capex stand throughout all the articles, and I was like, "Agar ye nahi hua na," because if it's like a few days before, right, nobody remembers, nobody reads, nobody gives a shit. But then if it's on that day and people
It
are
was
like,
a pretty bold move.
yeah. And I was kind of pissed off with the reporter saying that easy didn't go publish karna. Couldn't you do it like one day before? So all my mileage gets over by, you know, the actual budget coming in.
But then, thankfully, to your merit, it superseded even your expectation by going up to
So I was
top.
wrong, but I was wrong in a good way.
Yeah, in the best way possible. So, in fact, coming
Yeah, but
back
10
to
lakh crore,
right, and of the 10 lakh crore, I think around 25% is going towards road and transport, and around 50% to railways, and another 2 to 3 towards the housing. Where is the most centric use for the cement that we produce?
Cement demand increasing and all okay, but that's sort of been the story for India over the last decade, right? India is in such a place where structurally, whatever you try to sell, chaddi, banyan, cement, road, anything, as you can justify saying there is a long-term demand and high consumption and growing middle class and growing economy and all that. The problem is, and it has happened. It's not like cement demand hasn't grown over the last 10 years. It has grown massively, in fact. But the problem with Ambuja has been that it has not participated in that growth. So at a point in time, before it got acquired by Lafarge, it was number two or number three in terms of production capacity and market share.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Ambuja alone, not combined with ACC to save Ayush the trouble. So, yeah, and from there, after Lafarge acquired it, there has been absolutely no capacity addition for a period of 10 years. And everybody else, she was nowhere in the picture, right? And from there, it has become one of the largest cement players, the second largest now. And you can see that from the valuations, right? 25 times EV/EBITDA for Shree, Ultratech at 20 times, although being larger and more stable. Shree gets it only because of the kind of growth it has exhibited over the last few years. So that has been a good example of how to capitalize on a growing market versus someone like an Ambuja who hasn't grown at all, right?
True, yeah. But
So,
like,
but there are factors which resulted in that, right? There was, I think, Holcim's conscious decision to not.
exactly, they were not bullish on India. So throughout, they were not very sure of the ROE they would like maintain. In the end, I think they like fast-paced some kind of expansion. Uh, they added 10 million tons of, I think, production from 30 to 40. At least they're planning to do it. It's in the process, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
So, what makes you think that now that the wave is starting or elevating in a way, Ambuja will be able to anyway capitalize on it? They've done nothing for the last 10 years, right?
So, no, there was a few difficulties that Wilson got its way during this Ambuja ACC was not necessarily. Then, after all this, I think maybe in June or 2021, they started in the 2021 year itself to focus more on Ambuja and what it could be. They they had already set up a program which would make Ambuja plants and ACC plants for that matter 15 to 20% more operationally efficient by retrofitting them, better efficiency. There's a thing called waste heat recovery. Whenever cement is used, there's a lot of heat that is required. What happens is this heat that is generated, a lot of it gets wasted during the that heat also needs to be recaptured to make further more cement for them. So that players like Sri Cement had systems to optimize this and improve the efficiency and the cost that Ambuja had very little on that front. They are investing on that. Recent plant, which Abhik mentioned, they had around 31.5 metric ton of stock in India last time they reported. They are trying to push that to 50 in phase two. So despite whatever people say about Adani, their infusion there would still it was still on its way to increase capacity. Whether this Adani infusion goes through or not, they're still on a good track. And,
yeah. I remember a lot of talk about like when Ambuja and ACC got acquired. Like their combined capacity was around 70 million, and the Adani going all around talking about how he's going to make that like 140 million in by 2025 or something like that. Yeah.
But I think that doesn't matter, right? I think 140 ho, nahi ho, whether Adani comes in and steps in, capex plan, it doesn't matter because anyway, 30 to 40 million tons, the expansion 30 to 40 is already underway, right? That has already
True.
been
Yeah.
rolled out or executed in some form to some progress level. Right. So finally, after 10 years, they will be participating in the India growth story, which is great. Second question on the surprise quiz.
Let's go.
Um, what is the, this is a two-part question, okay? First question is just to set context. What is the key ingredient in making cement?
Limestone.
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 Okay,
Yeah.
which gets half a point. Now comes 1.5 point. What is the chemical formula for limestone?
Oh Lord.
C3H4O8.
Douche. Negative marking होना चाहिए था for such rugby answers.
I think it's calcium कुछ होता है ना limestone Ca I don't know CaCO something यार.
CaCO3.
Oh wow. Ayush gets
CaCO.
one.
हाँ?
CaCO3.
अच्छा वो okay.
Good. Ayush has done his research very well.
For once.
Yeah, so capacity addition in various forms, right? I think one being production capacity or new plants coming in, greenfield expansion, some brownfield expansion, which essentially just extends your current plant, whatever land you have, you just put up more capacity there. And third being the very valid point of improving the current capacity of existing plants by operationally improving them.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is important, right? Because for 10 years, if you've not added capacity at all, and there is so much technological development that's happened, that results in a place where you're operating inefficiently and not adding capacity. So you're not only not growing, but you're also eating out on profitability year by year because the inefficiency keeps increasing, relative inefficiency compared to other players. Yeah.
Definitely, that's what the management claims, that even like short improvements in their operational cycle and their plants will make huge differences like in the coming period. So that's how behind they are on technology, I guess.
No, but let's talk about forward-looking numbers, right? What does that look like? Yes.
I think
This is not a surprise question.
Yeah, I think based on modeling that we did, currently the share hovers around 50% when we check. And on an FY24 basis, that based on the research that we did, the export increased to 20%. But as a cement player in the industry, because one key differentiator for Ambuja is that it has a brand premium attached. The household, they know the name Ambuja. That leads to better margins because compared to other people who might just be selling Adani to other players, infrastructure players. So on a forward-looking basis, if we go to let's say FY24, I think the EBITDA will grow to around 45 and 46 bringing, I think, an appropriate for price for this stock at around 5.
No, but sorry, before that, so basically you're saying that one, there is capacity increase, right, which is going from 30 to 40 million tons. And then there is an increase in profitability. So obviously, increased capacity will lead to higher volume growth. Pricing could remain stable or probably increase. And for profitability to increase, you've got then two levers, right? One is the operational efficiency improving for Ambuja and bringing the cost down per ton produced. And number two, inflation itself.
Yeah.
Right.
So you want to talk a little about inflation in the sense, so about most of the cost is associated with power cost, right? Because burning fuel and keeping temperatures high is the major cost in cement production. So if that itself starts to cool down, then you've got a natural tailwind in terms of cost pressures coming off.
Definitely, yeah. The CPI is, I think, at the CPI is at a 12-month low right now. which is like 5.72 in December. So yeah, inflation is cooling off, and especially cement industry raw materials like pet coke and coal, their prices are coming down a lot since the energy crisis in Europe is settling down a little bit. So it's overall looking good in the inflation category for the cement industry at least. Yeah.
So 24 EBITDA of 4,600 crore is what you're
Yeah.
saying. And how would you value the company?
So I think at that EBITDA for on just the Ambuja level, excluding the subsidy, so it would value it at around 85,000 crores, and that's an 18x multiple. Then you have the GCC value, which is valued similarly, but we take a 57% discount because it is a subsidiary company. And that's on the stake valuation comes to around 30,000 crores on equity of around 1 lakh crores. So that translates to a price of around 5 which seems to be a given Ambuja's potential to increase their operational efficiency as well as win markets.
And that it has fallen from a price of 500 anyway.
Yeah, more in fact.
Mean reversion.
So it's just basically saying कितना गिरा उतना वापस आ सकता है, and not to pay attention to.
Maybe the time frame will be different, but
Yeah.
the potential is definitely there. It might have been wrongly dumped with the Adani stock because of the risk that the group possesses, but as a stock, it's a good company, and
But I want to talk a little about pricing, right? And because that's something that can go wrong. Right? We know that capacity expansion is already underway. Capacity to badega, volume aayega, demand factors are there, but pricing, and that's where, like, I think a lot of the regional dynamics come into play, depending on where you are placed within India, right? And Ambuja's plants, most of them are in the north and west, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the demand exceeds supply, and that's when pricing gets a natural tailwind or is sustainable to a larger extent. So from a risk standpoint, I think at least from an operational perspective, everything seems to be covered. But the demand also looks good, no, from north and west.
Yeah, it's definitely better than South, I think, which is very saturated and fragmented.
Don't steal my lines.
Okay. I thought you didn't mention it. That's why I said it.
Okay, it brings me to the third surprise question.
Oh Lord.
This one Yash should know because he spoke of wholesale and retail and brand premium and all that jazz. So when cement is sold to retail buyers, right? It's sold in bags.
Yeah. Branded and white cement, something. Is that what
There's no point for predicting the question.
Okay.
So, what is the standard weight of one bag of cement?
100 kg, 1 quintal. Damn.
Wrong. Both are wrong.
50 is the guess.
Yeah. Good. Yash wins 1 point.
Let's
So
go.
far there is Sagar 1, Yash 1, and Ayush 1. Hardik is lagging.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
go, Hardik.
Hardik has to catch up.
Yeah. How many questions are there?
I can stop the game right now.
For that?
So make it a tie.
as long as there is no clear winner, so yeah.
Nahin, we three can share something, na?
Sure.
See, as long as
Yeah, let's go for that.
no, I can ask one more, but I'll ask later. Yeah.
So that's a pretty big development on just the
Yeah, but
government's
in
push.
fact, this thing, they increased the outlay for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana as well.
Right.
which is basically providing incentives for people to build houses and
Housing.
subsidizing stuff and all of that, and providing rebates on loans and blah blah. Long list of incentives. You don't need to get into that.
Right.
But surprisingly, the scheme had picked up a lot in the last 5 years as well. Barring the COVID period, after its announcement, a lot of the cement demand over the last couple of years was driven by the PMAY scheme and how much individual housing was coming up and consuming as a part of the total demand. So with PMAY allocation as well increasing, plus capex increasing, there's like a mega boost to for the next couple of years.
Definitely. And most importantly, the election coming. So
Yeah,
the election cycle helps they correlate with the cement cycle, I think. The cement industry growing.
yeah. I think every government has to show execution, right? That they
True.
but that, I mean, obviously, like finishing projects, hurrying up into executing. So I think one is to say that there is a number in terms of forecast that has been put up in the budget, and that number can be anything, right? That number can be 50%, that will get revised downwards, that will not be accomplished or whatever. But the fact that there is a general election at least further cements the possibility, cements the possibility of achievement of that number. Yeah, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, so Adani valuations have been nothing so short of ridiculous. We have heard of a 50x EBITDA, there was a 100x EBITDA, there was a 500x even, I think, for Adani. I don't remember the name, but yeah, it fell from.
Some Adani for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's all been bunched into one, there's no individual analysis
Yeah.
that's going on between them as well as.
Is-
But Ambuja trades at a much thinner multiple, and I think the reason for that could be the Ambuja has its own set of analysis that has been up for years. It's not just Adani or people looking at an Adani stock. It's the story behind it. It's not as attractive because people know the history of the company.
Yeah.
That's why the correction has been not that deep compared to, let's say, what we have seen before.
No, but 30% is still deep, right? I think it poses a good opportunity to buy anyway. The correction is kind of steep.
Yeah.
I mean, if in a week the stock erodes a third of its value, uh, that seems like a good opportunity.
I think it was a situation of just panic sell. Matlab, it's already 5% up today. So
Have any of you bought it? Itna gyan baat rahe ho. Has anyone bought Adani? Sorry, Ambuja yet?
I was going to buy it this
Are we
afternoon,
allowed to disclose that? Then
Of course, you have to disclose. You're
then yeah,
selling
I
so
do.
much on the stock then.
I did.
When did you buy
What
it?
Ambuja when?
I bought day before yesterday.
Oh,
At how much?
700?
Sorry?
What price?
I think it was 330 or something in the middle of the day.
Damn. It's already at 370.
But I had it earlier also before, so now it's just average.
Oh, it's averaging.
Yeah, it's average. Yeah.
You're buying the dip.
I had it before. I bought it before the report only like a month ago. And then now again, so it's averaged out.
So
So
actually,
you bought it $500, then you
No,
bought
no. I bought it at around. Wait, I'll tell you. How do I check?
This concept of averaging down seems like you hit one leg and then you hit the other one.
Yeah, it's not. I mean,
oh,
But it's a very retail investor behavior as well, no, in a lot of stocks. जहाँ पे, I think the mentality there is that they don't want to sell at a loss.
exactly.
It
It's,
hurts them to see a loss. I'm like, bro,
we had this
might as well
professor.
deploy your capital somewhere else, right? It makes you more money. Just take the hit and move on.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're talking about stocks. I think one we should talk about, we talked about before as well, is LIC. It's also down around 20% because of this Adani. So maybe
This is next week. Our topic for next week is insurance.
That's the plug. So tune in next week.
Brilliant.
Oh, we are ending the podcast that way.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hard move, Yash. Yeah, no, LIC, SBI, no, but one sec. LIC, you can't completely correlate to Adani because you've also got the changes in the budget for
Yeah.
term insurance.
Yeah,
So,
true.
Before that as well, it was down around 15%, and it has stayed flat since levels.
okay.
No, 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 like sorry, it has fell halfway through then and halfway afterwards. But I think what's happening in insurance is very interesting, and it needs to be talked about and discussed about.
Next week.
No one has said
Yeah.
that ever.
I think Yash is trying to say we are going to make it interesting. So
Yash is out to make insurance cool again.
let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think I'll just ask the last question of my quiz.
Oh, there is no. Oh my god.
This is a very easy one, okay? So this is like a fastest finger first.
Shit.
Who's the largest producer of cement in the world? Country.
what?
What?
China.
What did you say? Largest producer of the what?
Cement.
Country? What?
Cement producer? China.
I said, who's the largest producer of cement in the world? But then I realized that I didn't mention country. All would start thinking of companies. So I said
China.
country.
China. It accounts for 50% of the cement production of the world.
Wow, good. Ayush takes the throne.
Let's go.
The winner is Ayush.
Yup.
So, one reason why you would go and buy Adani. And you can't name ऐसे comma डाल के, you can't give 3-4 reasons. Valuations are good, debt is less, this, that. The most compelling reason for you to go and buy. Sorry, why am I saying Adani?
Ambuja you have to buy.
Starting with, yeah.
Only one reason: the price.
A.
What? I'm too short.
The price leads to, or the price is a result of something, right? And that is attractive, yes. But what is the one major reason that the price looks attractive to you? Fuck, I have to rephrase the entire question just because.
Damn it. I think let's let Ayush ask the question. So like you
Why?
can give one of the reasons.
Watch it like that.
Me?
It's better that way.
No, but I can also give a reason. Nah? Why can't I go rotate around the clock and come back to me?
Let's do that. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got enough thinking time now. So,
Yeah. The stock price is really attractive, and the reason for that is the future cash flows that we're projecting are going to be very good compared to the numbers that we're seeing, and at current multiples, this looks like a good investment.
cool. Hardik, you can't repeat the reason.
All right. So Ambuja has always been a good company for a really long time. Right now, it is not being treated as one, as because it is part of the Adani bunch or whatever you want to call it. And because of this whole fiasco, there is a seemingly there has been done a correction, but that's not actually true. People are afraid, so they started selling the stock, and right now it's at a discount. So buy it.
Ayush.
And I think from a more fundamental perspective, the whole government push towards actually pushing the cement industry and like the lack of pressure on their expenditure is what will actually push their business forward. So I think on that note, it's a good company to invest into.
Got it. And me. So,
Yeah.
so I think for the last 10 years, Ambuja has done nothing. It has been an absolutely dead stock. No investor has had hope on it. Good governance and all of that, yeah. But it has done nothing. It has lagged in front of capacity and there is nothing that has happened in Ambuja. It has been a boring little stock. However, last year that started changing. And with new capacity, everything sort of falls in place. Right? New capacity, new plants, more efficiency, better earnings. And now it has the capacity to deliver industry-leading growth for at least the next 2 years. So I'm just looking at the fact that what it was is very different compared to what it is and can be. And that's what will drive both earnings as well as valuation. So Adani hai, nahi hai, doesn't matter. Stuff is planned, stuff is going on, and that makes it a great buy.
On that note,
I have a question on this, just a fun question. What do you guys think is a chance that Adani has to sell Ambuja to a suitable buyer company around ACC or
Ultratech, yeah.
Ultratech stuff? What are the chances of that?
So that depends on how shitty Adani's situation becomes, right? Like how bad it gets that he has to start selling his assets off in order to pay off his debt, personal debt or corporate debt or whatever. So if it comes to that, then of course there is a possibility that companies like Ambuja and ACC do come onto the table for a deal. Also because they have reasonable valuations, right? So
yeah.
if he goes to sell one of the other companies which have frothy valuations, who's going to buy it at very lofty valuations, right? People will probably be willing to buy these companies at a decent valuation if they get it, because they're good assets at a reasonable price. You can't just pay exorbitantly for assets. So yeah, there is. I mean, if you have to talk about Adani in the entire business, since there has been no similarities so far, the risk of course can be that he has to sell the asset. Maximum वही होगा ना, बेचेगा या फिर pledge करेगा. Either he'll pledge it or he'll sell it. So either case, I think shouldn't be a problem, right? It can be a distress sell. It may see some short-term price erosion because it's a distress sell, maybe, or whatever. But at the end of it, there are hard assets behind the company, and that has real value and it is generating cash flow. So, कितना ही discount मिलेगा? And if there are multiple buyers for such a good asset, if there is competition, then be fair. It won't be like a absolute कचरा asset नहीं है जो किसी को ऐसे somebody has to sympathetically pick it up. Right?
Adani Green.
Meaning?
Adani Green.
He's calling it a cultural asset.
Recycle.
this is just opinion.
So that's it for the day, guys. That's a wrap.